Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. How are we doing? You're doing? Good. Good. Very, very, very good. Um... Okay, I wanted to give some updates. I'm gonna try and consolidate, um... talk to a couple former members of Vishojo about, like, consolidating information, so I'm just gonna, like... When a member says a thing about how their stuff is going, I will just consolidate, because, our fan base is very intertwined. And people will say things on stream sometimes, and then, like, if they don't hear it, you know, it's easy if just others mention it. And not everyone uses Twitter either. So, Kazahana, thank you. I guess you go by Natsu. So thank you for the 5. I appreciate that very, very much. But yeah, I just wanted to consolidate some things here and there, because I think it would just help proper information go out there. And I know my scenario, my situation that I'll describe to you sometimes isn't what's gonna always go on with everyone else, so I want to make sure you're just aware of stuff as best I can make you aware. For me, there's good news and neutral news. Neutral news is, it's not bad news, it's just like you have to wait. Neutral news is I can't give the update I want to give yet. It's not about merch, it's about just like stuff in general, how it's all going. I can't give the update yet, but the news is good. The good news is that it is good. I can tell you that much. Not in a, I'm getting money way, but just like some more things have been sorted out. More clarity for some stuff that I needed to know, which is good at least. It's not, again, it's not money or merch, but yeah, so I will... I know I could just say nothing for now, but I feel like I prefer to give you whatever crumbs of updates I can give you rather than just waiting on it. Especially when it's positive, you know? So, I'll give you what I can. But yeah, I can't give you the specific update yet, but there will be a good update that I can give at some point. But I'm just reminding, you know, there's so much, let me go here. There's so much, like, legal stuff happening on the background, so if anyone seems quiet on anything, or they're not addressing a specific thing, or whatever, it's probably a mix of, like, legal reasons why they can't. Maybe their lawyers were like, you shouldn't mention this, like, for your own safety. Or there's a lot of information that we still need, right? Like, I'd rather not talk about things that I feel like I haven't gotten a good handle on. Again, because you don't want to cause any damage that didn't need to be caused, and you don't want to, like, cause splash damage, right? There might be something that I want to talk about, but if I do, it affects, like, how another member's stuff is going. Things like that, right? So I'm not gonna, like... if it's not something that's, like, actionable for you, it's just something I want to let you know about, I'm not gonna, you know, push an update to you guys when it could, like, you know, affect anyone. But I will give you whatever updates I can give you, for sure. I think that would be good. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's still pending for a lot of people, and they want to be able to say more, but it's like not... I know it's gonna seem like a lot of time has passed. Really not much has passed for, like, on the operational side, on, like, legal, getting shit done side. These things take a lot of time. So... yeah, there's a lot to still be sorted out and figured out before you can comfortably say things about some of them without, like, either causing yourself damage, causing others damage, causing random ass issues that never needed to be issues, etc. So, yeah. Yeah. But I'm trying to think if there was anything else on the vagueness. No, the vague stuff is just that. I will have a better update for you when I can. Yeah, don't use the rocket launcher in the trench. Exactly right. Like, there's some stuff that I would love to talk about right now. It does not affect her situation for you guys at all. It's just cool updates. But it could compromise some stuff. So I'm gonna wait. You know what I mean? So just hope you guys can understand on that. That there are gonna be a lot of scenarios that make sense for us to wait on. Same reason I stayed in and tried to help with a lot of stuff instead of just leaving, right? Leaving and then not saying anything wouldn't be helpful for anyone, you know? Even for myself, it just made it so that I would have less chance of fixing any of the stuff I needed fixed. That was before we even knew about all the financial stuff, so, you know. But yeah, so then we also have, Henya had a merch update, and Kuro had a merch update. It sounds like for the both of them, I have Henya's statement open right now. It sounds like for the both of them, they're not in as good of a situation as mine is. I wouldn't even call mine good, but it's better, right? Hey, thank you for the raid. I was just giving a little merch update. So I'll read out Henya's. Kuro's, I think he said stuff on stream, and I don't remember what he said verbatim, honestly. But it sounded like a bunch of his stuff wasn't made. Like, wasn't ordered from Vishojo trying to order it from manufacturers, meaning it doesn't even physically exist. So in those people's cases, there's nothing they can do. Henya gave an update. I'll read out bits of hers. It was a tweet, so if any of you don't use Twitter, this is it. She was just saying, last few weeks were stressful. She said, unfortunately, I can now confirm that Bishojo will not be fulfilling any of the outstanding merch orders for my community. She's really upset about this. Some of the pre-ordered merch was never manufactured. They didn't even receive orders for that. So some of the pre-order stuff, like, they took in the sales from it, and then what they should have done after that was, after knowing how many to order, they then order it. But some stuff, I don't know for what reason. I don't know if she even has the reasoning. It just never got ordered, some of the items. So yeah. It sounds like the orders were not sent over to the manufacturers yet. Maybe an order was sent over, but they were told to pause right now, or maybe they got the information, but they said, we're not doing this until you pay us, right? We don't really have those kinds of details. So this is a guess. My guess is a staff member probably sent over the information that they were supposed to send over, and then we're like, okay, yay. And then if it wasn't paid for yet, then it probably wasn't manufactured or something like that, you know? I don't know, but that is a guess. There are a lot of, like, little intricate ways this could have happened, which is, again, why we don't point fingers at, like, specific employees right now, because we just don't know, like, the stage of every little thing, and, you know, what are we gonna do? Be like, send me the email where you told the manufacturer to do that? Like, we know it wasn't ordered, right? For whatever reason. Or it wasn't manufactured, is what I should say. It wasn't manufactured. So for Henya, a bunch of her stuff was not even made. She was encouraging everyone to talk to their credit card providers about chargebacks, because that is the best advice she can offer you right now. There's nothing she can do to recoup that money right now. There is nothing she can do to recoup merch that has not been made. That's impossible. The items literally don't exist. So if you want to issue a chargeback, it is like the easiest. You press a couple buttons, and then the payment processor will go after whoever it was paid to be like, what the fuck's with all these chargebacks? Right? It's not on you at that point. It's out of your hands. So I think, yeah, if anyone had merch that could not be made, right, or anything like that, there you go. I've seen some people be really annoying about it online. I wish they wouldn't be. I have some people ask, like, why can't they just take that art and go get those things made again. Number one, that would make them 100% double pay for everything. They would lose money. That's not the big deal, though. That's not the biggest deal. That is a big deal, especially for her, because she is owed a lot of money. A fuck ton already. Okay, that's number one. I don't know if she said the amount, but it's a fuck ton. Number two, we cannot always, depending on certain people's legal situations, be 100% sure that they own that art and can monetize it right now. It depends on situations, but typically, and I don't know what everyone's situation is, I'm just going to say this can vary. Typically, if I paid an artist directly for an item, for like art that they did, and I paid them for commercial fees and whatever, then I own it. It's my IP and I paid for this thing. If a company, which has rights to license your IP, paid for that art to get done, if they were the person on the receipt, depending on your agreement with the company, depending on that company's agreement for that art with that artist, like a multiple layers, there are situations where they might actually own that art, which means you could not just take it and be like, it has me on it, so I'm going to sell it. You might not own the commercial rights, right? So I don't know what everyone's situation is. Each art piece might be a different situation, whatever. No one can just grab the art and just throw it on merch and sell it until they have like legal confirmation that they own that they own commercial rights to that and can sell it. So I just wanted to say that because I've seen some people be like, why don't they just take that art and produce it? And I'm like, look, it's not even like the money issue so much. It's like legally you have to do so much sleuthing and so much like so many legal checks to make sure you actually own it. Otherwise you could get like sued out the ass for for taking art you don't own commercial rights to and selling it, you know, stuff like that. And it doesn't matter what's morally right. It's just, this is what it is on paper, right? So, you know, some people might try to do that. Some people might be like, I'm just gonna get something new made, I don't care, whatever, you know, like it's too much. Some people might not be able to know if they ever could own that thing or not, etc. So, you know, I just wanted to say that because there's a lot, there's so many layers to it. There's so many reasons why one person or the other could own different things, etc. And yeah, IP licensing and IP rights are really complex. So, so don't, it's not as simple as like, just make this thing, you know? Part of my good news is related to that. I can see that much. I was able to make sure that I do have sign off on some things, which is good. But I need to like do one or two other tasks before I can confirm every little thing. But that's kind of what some of it's related to, is I'm making headway, I'm making progress on that stuff. Because that was what was important to me, honestly, was making sure that like the stuff that you can sign a paper for, right, is figured out. Whether money can be transferred or not, whether items can be transferred or not. Like I just have been working to get that done. So yeah, but I'll give a better update when it makes sense for me to. But yeah, so I know some people have given merch updates. Not everyone has, because not everyone even has their situation fully explained to them or the information they need to even tell you anything yet. But yeah, for me, I have officially gotten sign off to be able to go and physically get, I mentioned this the other day, to physically get the merchandise, but I'm still awaiting the data to know orders, to know who ordered what, where to send it to, etc. Right? That is what I'm trying to recover so that I could put stuff in a new fulfillment center and have those sent out. And like I said, I plan on just fronting whatever money it takes to move that stuff from place to place and then get it shipped out, get it fulfilled, pay the staff to do that. I'm going to do it. And then what I'm going to do is when later I figure out how much that cost me, I will put up a little dono bar. And if you are like really wanting to help with that, you could do that, but it'll be optional. Like I am totally fine if no one did and I was just fronting it, you know. But some people asked if they could help, so I figure I could just put up like a bar with the amount and be like, you know, yeah, this took 5K, this took 10K, this took 3K, whatever it's gonna be, you know. I don't really know yet. If it's not much or if it's a lot or whatever, I'll just put up a thing and just be like, here you go. There are also some people who've reached out to help some companies that will do certain things here or there for me. and don't want to charge me, and I'm trying to get them to let me pay them, but they're refusing. So there are some things that would normally cost me a lot that I might just have and people like step in for, which is very kind of them. But yeah, so yeah, that's my stuff is going a bit better over time. We'll see. When I can give more specifics about other stuff, I will. Also, people asking for updates, like Kyla just asked or whatever. I'm going to speak really vaguely on this other thing real quick. If someone is having a personal issue that I think should be handled IRL and should not be done in the public eye at all, I'm not going to drag it into the public eye. So don't ask certain questions. Thank you. That's what I'll say on that. Okay. It's nothing that should affect you guys, and it's best kept completely in the IRL sphere for somebody. Okay. That's what I think. So if anyone else asks, Moz will probably just like delete messages or anything. And then if there are any issues between people that I know, I do not care about scenarios. I only care about people. I do not want to get involved in any scenarios. I only care about how they're doing, and that's it. So don't ask me because I'm not getting involved. You know? I'm just going to make that clear. Because, I've already been asked through every single platform 1,000 times, and I have nothing to say. I have nothing to say on that. But anyway, back to company stuff. I think the good thing that Henya's trying to do, and I'm gonna remind you guys of, which, you know, if you bought any Henya merch, anyone whose order wasn't fulfilled, she wants to make some sort of digital content to send to them. So that is good. That is good. That's very good of her. She doesn't have to do that, but you know. Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to think of ways I could do stuff too in case, like, if I don't get that order info and I don't know where to send things, then like my goodwill solution, my good faith solution of, oh, I'll just front it. Like, now I can't do that even. So I don't know. I don't know at that point. I could maybe, I don't know. There are ways I could try to figure something out, but I'm not gonna bend over backwards over some crazy things. I'm just gonna do whatever I can that I can confirm. I think if for some reason I don't get that order info, I can look at the number of unfulfilled items I have. I can let people forward their order info that they didn't get. And if fewer people than the items that were supposed to go out, or the exact number, say, oh yeah, I'm missing this thing, say it and send details, then I'll get it sent out. But let's say I know 100 keychains weren't fulfilled and I have 150 people saying they didn't get theirs, then I just can't do it. I just can't do it at that point, because then you know some of them aren't true and I would have no way to verify. So, you know, I would open a potential, like a form to potentially let us know. I know some people have been opening mod tickets. But yeah, if it were one of those things where I couldn't tell what's good faith and what isn't, then, you know. So I would open it and hope, you know, hope that people are honest. We'll see. So I'm just letting you guys know I'm trying to think of like good ways to do that properly. It's just so difficult. Have they filed for bankruptcy yet? I don't know. I don't think so. I think I would be informed of that, but maybe not. I don't think they have an obligation to inform me. I can say it's like a ghost town. It's like a total ghost town. And I just don't know what's gonna happen, who's gonna inform who of what, or I got no clue, man. It's information is lacking, and we all have like 1,000 questions we still want answered, which is why we won't say certain things or whatever. Like, you know, you need information before you go yapping about a thing or updating people, and we just like don't have it. So, right? How about getting proof of purchase, bank statement and such? That's not the issue. Is not someone being able to tell me that they purchased an item. The issue is, how do I know that after they purchased it, it was or wasn't sent? Because some stuff was and some stuff wasn't. That's the problem. There's some people who got their Boris key rings. Some people got theirs. There's some people who didn't. You know, so that's, yeah, there's no good way to do it. It just sucks, man. So I'm trying to think of ways I could try to make that right, even if I can't confirm. Yeah, exactly. It's right. It's the shipment paperwork that I really need, right? Well, you know, even then it's not perfect. So when the shipment provider have the logs of the item sent, I, the person, cannot just go request that from them and have them legally give that to me without sign off, because that was work they were doing for the company, technically, not for me. I do not have like legal right to be like, give me these names and addresses. That's kind of, from a legal standpoint, that's crazy. I think from a moral standpoint, it makes sense, but on paper, that's crazy, you know? So like, I know it exists, but I can't knock on their door and be like, give me this. Even if they wanted to, they couldn't. There has to be some level of someone on the company side being like, yes, move this over to this person. Or if I give them another fulfillment center and the stuff gets moved there, I go like, hey, can you transfer this there? You know, it has to be done properly. Otherwise, like, I don't know. As much as I would think it's cool if you guys trust me, I don't think you should be happy with me just knocking on a door and shipping center just giving all your info to me because I asked. You know, without like a legal thing signed to be like, I won't expose this all on the internet, and like, you know, all the sign-offs you do when you handle that type of information. So, you know, yeah, I think it's that's why I'm trying to do things properly. Right, huge security breach and stuff. Like I'm not trying to do things in a way where like I feel like I got my moral victory that I wanted or whatever, but then I also completely let other people in this situation like mishandle your information. Right? Like that's crazy. That's crazy. And like, would I do anything with that info besides send you merch if you didn't get it? No, that's all I would do with it. I probably wouldn't even look directly at it. I would just send it to the next fulfillment center and go, can you please send these items here? And all they would see is an email and an address, you know, but still, you know, security in your data is really important. So I'm just not, you know, I'm trying to be good about it, you know, but yeah, that's why this stuff is also complicated. I don't know. Did anyone else give updates on theirs? I want to say they don't have too many specific updates other than echoing, you know, kind of Henyo's situation for the most part. So I don't think I need to go read everyone's little statement, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Have you already discussed looking at a forensic accounting service? There are reasons why I could or could not, and I'm not gonna go into any intricacies. And if I did something like that, you wouldn't know about it. That's one of those things that you wouldn't get updates on. Some stuff like is important to put in front of you guys, I feel like, and other things are not at all and should be just back end. So, you know. So you would rather I resold the merch on a new storefront than try to fulfill orders piecemeal at a loss to myself? I think if I were a viewer, I would feel that way. But I'm here, I'm me. I am just not morally okay with this whole scenario financially affecting you. You know what I mean? Like, that just... No. No. I don't think that should be the case. Right? Because it was a mixture of you guys trusting me saying it's okay to purchase through here and the company doing everything they could to make things seem fine. Right? Giving us every reason to not be like, oh, actually things aren't okay or whatever, right? Or and doing every little thing to make sure that we found out this type of information as late as possible. And I don't think it was even all these people sitting there rubbing their hands together with evil eyes. I think it's a lot of people being tricked at many levels. So if I'm having a lot of staff tell me, oh, this is fine, oh, that's fine, that's handled, I'm gonna believe when multiple staff members are telling me that. You know, that's kind of everyone's situation. You know, and if they were lied to, then they were lied to. If some of them actually did do stuff really well, at least for whatever their task was. So when you see certain things going well, you're like, okay, you know. And then when you get given this like run around a lot, it takes time to figure it out. So you end up where you are. And I don't think you guys should get like should have to take on that financial burden, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like all this was a willing choice, right? It sucks for everyone, but in my opinion, for myself, this is a willing choice. So I think that burden should be on me to fix it. That's just where I am at. Having you pay a second time would not really be your choice. Having you pay once and not get what you paid for is not your, like, it's completely out of your hands. There was no decision in that for you. You just thought you were going to get the stuff, right? So, yeah, if people wanted to buy more merch later and they were cool with that, now that I'm working with other people that I'm like, I know they fulfill shit, you know, whatever. That is your choice, and that's fine. But yeah, in a situation where like you didn't have a choice anywhere, there was no decision on you anywhere, I feel like you shouldn't take on the financial burden or anything like that. So yeah, so as nice as it is that people want to help, or they're like, oh, I think you should do this instead, like, I'm still gonna take it upon myself to try and you know, pay what I can or fix what I can. That's why I appreciate, like, if you donate or gift subs, etc. I like that system because you're choosing to be generous, right? There's no promise back that I could potentially, like, not deliver on, realistically. You're just simply choosing to give, and that's it, which is great. And I feel like everything should be like that. There's just a clear, like, I just want to give this, and that's okay. I'm not trying to take, like, unwilling donations to, not even myself, to a company that's giving you nothing. You know what I mean? I don't like that. I don't like it. It's fucked up, so... yeah. TLDR, yeah, not okay with it. I will pay. I don't care. If anyone wants to help, that is fine. I will later set up a dono bar or something and be like, here's how much it was if you feel like it. And that will be a willing choice of yours, you know, if you want to help or not. But that's it. That's something I've been saying for a bit that I would do if I could figure out, like, how much the shipping would have cost on those items or something, you know. But we'll see. We'll see. My hope, my best case scenario right now is just that I do get the merch data and I can send it to you. Right? If there's like, here were the orders, here were the items, here's where they go. And then I could go, okay. And I could just pay a fulfillment center to take that and make it happen. That is my hope. That would be easiest. And then after that, then it's just moving on, right? And I'm going to continue to do, with other people, obviously, my own merch. We have stuff for sale right now that is just handled properly, which is great. So, yeah, I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. It's the same people I just worked on WeebCon stuff with because I did a thing there and they fulfilled everything properly and easily, which is great. You know, I've had many people tell me they've worked with them and it worked out well, so
I heard bits. GEEGA cheer, GEEGA heart, GEEGA base.
Zenfo, thank you for the 5k. Thank you for the 5k bits. Thank you, appreciate that. It's possible for the merch data to be retroactively NDA? Like, is there any reason you wouldn't be able to share that after you get it? If I had someone sign something over, I would have them sign over rights to get, like, it fulfilled by a center. There's a type of agreement for it. There's a type of paper, and I would just have that paper get transferred over. So that would be fine. That would not be an issue. Agent Inc. posted that if you order in Rhodonite Sword like me, they will still be fulfilled. Yeah, the stuff with Agent Inc., they are a third-party company. We've always done merch with them here and there. Zen to the Sword. I know some people did, like, other merch lines with them. And, yeah, they did their shit. So, yeah, they did confirm that that would still be happening, which is nice. There's, I don't know. It's complex because through the system that we had through VShojo, what they did was they had a fulfillment center that will fulfill the orders. And then some merch staff would sit with us, come up with what items we need. They would coordinate with artists to get the art drawn for it, blah, 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 get that all figured out. And then they would send that information to a manufacturer. The manufacturer would make it. That would supposedly, should have been, get paid for. They would pay for that, and then it would get sent to that fulfillment center. And then when the items were all there, they get sent out. So there are a couple of layers to it. So there might be this manufacturer made my shirt, but that manufacturer made my desk mat or whatever, and it's a little complex. But when you do stuff through a company like Agent Inc., like Orchid 8, like, you know, and any of them, Horizons Merch, right? They tend to just handle all of that for you. Like, you're not in those separate discussions as much. You can still keep an eye on everything, but they have a lot more in-house people, or they just have their stuff systemized a little differently. It's a similar system, but it means that they kind of take on a lot of the responsibility for handling all the in-betweens. And it makes it a lot easier because you just have to go talk to like one representative to get updates on your shit, and they legally can keep all that info that's in between everything and blah blah blah. So figuring out a merch issue with like one company like that is a little easier. But what we're dealing with right now with Vishojo is like, you know, like we said, like some manufacturers may not have made stuff because they weren't paid or because they didn't receive the orders or whatever. We don't know exactly why for each thing. Other ones would have sent stuff over. So we're trying to figure out, like, for some people, what they even have, what was ordered. Is some stuff actively in production right now? Are people currently printing something right now, or is that not printed, or what? Like, it's getting all these status checks from all these different spots. So yeah, it's a little more complicated because there's no one-stop shop of someone else that was doing all this stuff. It was like we were very involved with, you know, like all these things. Or I guess it depends on the person too. I was more involved with different people, so when I had an issue, I knew what manufacturers to message for certain things. Not for everything, but like some stuff that I was more involved in, right? Other people have no clue who made what. Zero clue, because they just did not have interest in like talking to a manufacturer, which is fine. You really shouldn't have to at all. So, you know, that is all up in the air for some people that had, you know, less eyes on it. That's crazy. They took pre-order money to try to cover the cash crunch. You know, guys, you know what I think it really was? I don't even think it was people sitting there taking pre-order money to try and cover that. I think the people taking the pre-order money had no idea. Okay? I think the people who were handling that stuff had no clue that things were going to fall apart and genuinely were just doing business as usual because they thought that it was fine. It was people on the back end that should have been aware of the situation that didn't even tell those people, maybe we shouldn't be doing this right now. Yeah, left hand not talking to right. Yeah, which is again why I'm like not getting too finger pointy with some stuff, because you know, up until the financial situation was heard about and understood, everyone was just doing business as usual, because if there weren't those types of financial issues, none of that would have happened. None of that would have happened. Things would have gotten made, people would have been paid, right, etc., etc. So yeah, I don't think anyone was sitting there being like, ooh, these merch pre-orders will cover at least this or whatever, who was like in the merch staff or something like that, you know. Like our personal managers, my manager certainly did not know about that, right? So that's all very like, yeah, people found out like as it ran out, basically. And that it was a very sudden thing, you know. And that kind of made it so that we had to look back and go, okay, what have we been doing that's business as usual that we now can't do? We have to like retroactively fix, you know? Right. Someone's checking amounts. Who knows? So, yeah. yeah, it's stuff like that that it that's why this is all taking time, because the financial news was really sudden and very late into the process. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. I knew there were like issues of some sort, mostly from assumption and prediction and putting two and two together. But I left before all the actual financial situation was revealed. I was just leaving cuz like it wasn't done well at all. You know, like I was just like, this isn't good. I was like totally content to leave over way less, because even the way less was still like bad enough for me to be like, this isn't good. You know, I was done with a lot of other stuff, and then this was the thing that allowed me, enabled me to be able to speak about things more. Right? Like had that not happened, and I thought the financial situation was still like better than it actually was, or anything like that, I wouldn't have been able to do much there, you know? So, you know, it is what it is, right? Right? You don't know how, you said you're trying to wrap your head around how they hemorrhaged so much money in 3 years. Um, a lot of staff, a lot of money getting paid out to that. A lot of projects that were started, some done, some fell through, whatever. A lot of money put into those projects. A lot of those projects being things that I think they hoped would help them get more investment or more deals that would bring in money. I just think that was all managed really poorly. And each time I pointed out, hey, I don't think this thing is going to do what you think it's going to do. I don't think that's going to do what you think it's going to do. Right? What can you do besides point it out and wait to see if it gets better? If it doesn't, you just go, okay, well, I'm going then, which is kind of where I was, you know? So, yeah, JP Branch wasn't cheap. Yeah, yeah. Which, you know, to be fair, when you are a startup, you should be spending in the beginning to try and get things launched so that later they become profitable. I just felt like we were already in that later. Like, once you reach 4 or 5 years, if you're not basically turning your profit by that point, like you've been launched for that long, not like you've been working on something that long, you've been launched for that long, not gonna make it, man, right? So I was just kind of like I was going into it knowing this model ain't looking so good, but there's a difference between like, I don't know if this model is going to work out well, versus like the proof that financially it's well beyond that point. You know. It was really truly like a lot of it was just it's still so completely surprising to me, but also not. No, it is actually, it is surprising. I'm not surprised that things got to a bad point. It was the severity level where I was like, what? No way it's possible to get this far, right? You would think people would like cut losses earlier or something. I thought we were approaching the point where losses needed to be cut, and that was me. I was cutting my losses, right? I was just like, okay, it's not gonna work out. But yeah, no, things were so obscured, so obscured that it was well beyond that. I was like, oh, okay, well, not, you know, my problem, but also not my problem, kind of thing. Thank you. Thank you. Somewhat thank you for the sub, by the way. So my guess was that they expected more growth to fund the flying start with a disproportionately large staff for the early incumbent. Never materialized. I don't think they ever needed the amount of staff they had, ever. I don't think they ever pivoted when they needed to. I had actually suggested within my first year of being there that they cut a lot of staff, and I was like, hey, this sucks, because on a personal level, the ones that I do know I really like, but there are a lot that I don't know. And I was sitting there pointing out, like, I don't know what everyone does all day. I said that literally in a call. I was like, I don't know what everyone does all day, because I was like, my manager does so much. He looks overworked. There's one person above him who looks overworked. I know, like, our at the time merch person was doing shit. And I was like, what else is happening here? What else is going on? You know? And I was like, at that point, I was given some information on some money stuff. I was never shown a balance of what they currently had. I was shown some in and out. And I looked at it and I went, this is not right. And I was like, I don't have all the information I need to tell you how not right this is. But I can look at this and say, you're spending too much on staff. And I don't see them. Right? Like, I was, what's the John Travolta meme where he's standing around, looking around? I was just like, I don't see them. Where are they? And I'm sure there were like a few that I wouldn't have seen because their jobs were super back end. You know, that makes sense. But there was a lot, you know? And I was like, I just don't. I was like, I see the managers, but where's everyone else? There were like only like 3 other names that I knew besides the C-levels and the managers, you know? So I was like, what? What's going on here? No, and yeah, that most people were like remote. Yeah, so I don't even know if they knew what everyone did all day. So to this day, I don't know. I don't know if they even knew. But I remember pointing it out and I was like, hey, I firmly believe you could run everything that I currently see happening with like 10 people maximum. Why do we have more than double? You know, why do we have that? And I was just told nothing, basically. I was given a non-answer, like, how do I say this? Like the Ultra Corpo, we're dedicated to giving you the best of service and something. It sounded like a commercial. And I was like, okay. Are you gonna change anything? And then I was given another Corpo, like, yeah, we're looking to make some changes that will make this better for you. And I'm like, okay. Like what? You know? I was just hoping to get specifics. And, yeah, I'll say my biggest reason for leaving was that I asked lots of questions and kept asking them and was never given an answer. I didn't care what the actual status of things were. I didn't care if they actually did get like another investment or something and had buku bucks. I didn't care if things were actually happening well.
Congratulations, by the way, on being the newest.
Thank you. I was like, I don't care if things are actually working well in the back end and I just don't know about it. I just want to know. And I want my questions answered. And not getting that was like my number one reason why. I was just like, I can't continue to be somewhere where I ask very simply, like, can I know this thing? And it's something they would have no reason to hide from me. It wasn't even like, let me get financial data. Nothing like too deep like that. Something like, can I know who you're trying to bring in as new members? And being given the runaround, not even being told like, yeah, I'll tell you on this day. Being given these like corpo non-answers, I was like, brother, no. No, and that was my number one. And then when I don't think Matara's talked too specifically about her situation, but when everything happened with her, it was, you know, some of the similar stuff being seen right there, and that was when I was like, okay, no. No. Nope. Corporal answers show a huge lack of respect, if nothing else. If it sounds like a standard corporal answer, but it's honest and has information in it, then I'm not gonna hate it so much because I understand why. Right? But when it's a corpo answer and there's no real information given and it's clear that the point of it is to waste your time and stop you from continuing to ask, that's the red flag, clearly, right? Said, I don't remember, was Mata fired or did she quit? It was a very complex situation. She essentially got fired. I don't know what she said about it, though. I don't want to speak for her. But no, she didn't intend to leave. And the stuff, yeah, she got let go, right. She was trying to do some things that I thought were good for her and were good in general. And in response got let go. And I was like, whoa, what? So then my question to myself, and this is part of why I decided to leave, my question to myself was, okay, so if I ask some questions that I think I should get answers to, and I try to advocate for myself in some situation, would I get let go? that should never be a question in my mind. I think I should just go. That was, you know, that's where I was with that. And no, people keep thinking this has something to do with like her using third-party merch companies. Like that was a reason. No. I keep seeing people type it to this day in YouTube comments. I'm like, stop. No. I hope at some point she'll be able to talk about it or something, but it's not really the time for it for her. But yeah, it was a situation. I'll just say I don't think she did any wrong there at all. Even Bricky had to debunk that theory. Yeah, I think some people are just joking about it. They mean well, and they're just like, hey, you know, thanks for helping, or they'll be like, oh, you're the reason for this, whatever. And I'm like, it had nothing to do with him, man. I don't know. Yeah, what you said is how I felt. You said talent doing things good for the talent and talent first agency gets let go by said agency. Right. That's all you gotta say. That's all you gotta say. And that was all I needed to see, right? Like I had a lot of unanswered questions. I was like trying to figure a lot of things out. I could tell something was a bit fishy. Let me look into this, let me look into that. There's a lot of time passing as I'm looking into this stuff, and then that happens, and I was like, you know what? I don't actually care what the specifics are anymore. I'm just gonna go. You know, that's kind of where I was, and I didn't want to go on the social level, like the group members level. I love being part of a group, right? But it was never like just a group. It was an entire company that also had a group signed with it separately, you know? So I was like, I can't do this. I can't. I think if I weren't actual close friends with the members, I would have just left way earlier when I saw the first signs. But because they were all there still, I tried to spend more time figuring shit out. I also didn't want to be the bad guy trying to convince them to leave, right? If I didn't have like concrete, they did this, they did that, blah, 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 I wasn't going to go around to people and start being like, oh, I'm going because of this and you need to too. Like I wouldn't do that, you know? So sitting there trying to bide my time and figure out like, okay, if I get something concrete to show this, then I'll talk to certain people about certain things. But if I'm not seeing that, then what can I say, right? And like I said, like my artists for art for my projects did get paid. So I personally didn't have scenarios I could point to and be like, oh, my artist wasn't paid, or like concrete stuff like that, you know? So, and they weren't holding nearly the amount of money for me that they were holding for other people. So it's not like I was owed like a car, like a Ferrari, you know what I mean? Like some people were and then asked for it and didn't get it or something like that. That wasn't the case for me. So, you know, I didn't have like those specific things to point at and be like, oh, this didn't happen or whatever. So it just sucks. Yeah, Henya's Lambo. Henya Lambo case on Ferrari Mousy house. Yeah, exactly. Like, just think about how much it is. It's just insane. Yeah, I was owed like a pair of shoes in comparison because I was really careful with stuff. Like, am I still owed something? Yes, but like when I look at the difference, I'm like, oh my god! Like, I hate that I'm laughing, but like, it's crazy. It's just so like insane to hear, you know? I don't know. I wish I knew earlier. If one of them told me like, oh yeah, like even if they did everything right, even if the company was perfect, did everything perfectly, even if they said, yeah, I had this many dollars sitting there, I would be like, please withdraw it. Why wouldn't you just put it into a savings account and get like your whatever percent at least? You know what I mean? Like, I would have just been like, hey, you should just take it out. But I think a lot of people likes to do the process of like, I have it there so that it can be put into projects and stuff like that, right? That's usually the intent. So I do get it, especially when you're the type of person that does do expensive projects. Let's say, you know, you had a concert to pay for, right? You could just leave it there And then when the concert bill comes up and it's like well over 100,000, it's like a fuck ton. Okay, well, it's there, just use it, you know? So I do understand leaving things in for a lot of events and stuff, which is what I think a lot of folks tried to do. So I don't know, but I'm one of those people who just did it myself no matter what. That's just me being paranoid. I don't know. And I always feel bad because I'm always like, oh, I'm too paranoid, I shouldn't make others paranoid. And then every time I don't, I feel like something happens and I'm like, fuck. I don't know. So is there a good reason to only do payout quarterly instead of more frequently on ongoing income like the merch? Yeah, most talent-based things, like the talent industry, most things are quarterly in general. It's just kind of standard. And it's because there is a lot of in and out. So yeah, you're taking in merch money for quarter one, right? But you also have all these ongoing like debuts and other projects upcoming that you're constantly paying out for as well. So if you're doing this like bi-weekly or monthly payout and you're constantly bringing that account back down to zero, then when people have to go get paid for art or something out of your balance, now you have to go send money back to your company on a lot of weeks to cover those things. And it just reduces paperwork by leaving it quarterly. So I know it, like, for people with normal jobs, it might sound stupid to have it be quarterly, but in this industry, there's so much in and out. There's a lot of overhead, a lot of small things to be paid for all the time, that it does make sense to hold actually an okay balance somewhere like that. So also to coincide with tax filing if they're on the quarterly reporting. Yeah, that's the intent, or it should be, pretty much. But yeah, so I don't think that's actually an issue. I don't want to get into that like that zone where people start pointing at every little thing and pointing out every problem with it, because some things were not actually the problem, whereas others were. I saw someone crashing out on Twitter about quarterly, and they're like, what do you mean you didn't pay them every other week? I get my paycheck every other week. And I was like, brother, just breathe. Breathe. This is like really normal, actually. It's really normal when you have a lot of overhead, you're in an industry with all the in and out. Like, this isn't what we should be. There are bigger fish to fry here, you know? This isn't the thing to crash out about. Aretha was right. Yeah, man. I don't know. Yeah, what Byte said. Oh, she said net 90s normal in all industries. Pretty much. It was not a foreign concept to me, so I was just like, that's fine. So it's not income if you don't withdraw, or am I wrong? That depends on your contract, your paper you have signed, whether you can count that as income or not. Typically, no, but it depends. It depends. It does. Every other week is weird too. Monthly is the norm over here. It depends on where you are. I think in the US, a lot of people do get paid a bit more often. Yeah. It depends on so many things too. That's the other thing, is some members live in different countries, right? Some members simply signed a different paper than others that, you know, maybe you do have to pay me out monthly. I don't know. Right? I could have just been like, oh, actually you do, written it into my contract. If they signed it, right? Something like that. So, you know. Ooh, Byte said, people want to know why Twitch only pays out once a month. It's because Twitch wants to keep the interest they earn. That's a good point. That's a good strat. That's scummy, but a very good strat. Yeah. That's the thing. I actually brought that up to someone a while back. It's one of my managers. I think it was Kenzo. I was like, hey, I really wish Twitch paid me more often, because I have a savings account that I want to shove stuff into. I get $1 and I put it there. If it's $1 I don't think I'm going to pay out for anything, boom, it goes in there instantly. Just to let it rack up whatever it's going to rack up, you know? And I wanted that to be the case, and I was like, man, I just hate that they pay monthly, because now it's like a little less time here and there. Yeah, and if you have investments or if you have anything like, and when you're a creator, you have to be really smart about what you're doing with your money for the future. So I was like, I want it in my hands and I want it put somewhere. And yeah, Twitch is they do every 10th, and then the actual payout, like, it gets processed on the 10th, and you get, like, I think the 15th you get the payout, which is it's okay. It's okay. Wish it was more often. It's not the worst, but still. Bi-weekly's common for you. Yeah, I mean, I've worked in all sorts of environments where I've been paid at different intervals. I personally liked getting like a weekly or a bi-weekly, because again, I'm the type of person who, the moment the money lands on my lap, I would go put it in savings, or like, make sure it was put somewhere where it's accruing something on it, even if it's minuscule. But yeah, and then there were other things where I would do an entire project and I wouldn't get paid until the end of the project, and I'd be like, wow, this sucks. It's cool to get one check for like a big amount. It looks cool, but I'd be thinking the whole time, like, man, I wish I could just have this right now, because then I would, I'd be able to put it away. Yours goes 90/10 into an investment account. Damn. Yeah, that's the dream, man. That's the dream. I don't know. Monthly's okay though. The Twitch monthly is all right. It's not the worst. You do the 50/30/20. Yeah, the 50/30/20 is reliable. It's reliable. I sit down every time I'm doing anything related to my expenses. I have, most of my bills are like monthly, so I withhold. I know what my bills are going to be at the end of the month, and I round up a little bit. So I have this number in my head that I've got to hit. So I have checking account sits there. I make sure that amount is in it. That amount is in it, plus a certain number of dollars that I make sure is in there at the end of each month, to make sure I'm covering like food and all that. And I just don't go over it. I just budget. I just simply do not go over it. And then everything else goes to like savings or something that can accrue money. And that is just it. Right? Like, that is just it. It's simple. It's not hard to do. It's not too hard to do. You just have to sit down and look at everything. I think a lot of people, their problem financially is that they don't actually set out the time to sit down and make sure they fully understand where they're at the end of each month. And I don't think it's the difficulty. I think it's just they get overwhelmed. But I don't know. Any financial advice for 21-year-old graduate? Live within your means. Live so far within your means that you feel like you're underdoing it. If you let yourself suffer to save more, so long as it's not killing you, okay? If you do have to have that longer commute to have that cheaper rent, have that longer commute, find a way to make that commute make sense for you. Okay, find something to do on it. If it's trains, do some work on it. If it's a car, call people, open a voice note up and just start yapping about important shit you need to do later, whatever. Yeah, act like a broke college kid. Forever. Act like a broke college kid. Always assume that you could lose your job at any moment. You don't need anything. Live a Buddhist lifestyle where you only need 10 shirts, okay? No, I'm a little crazy with it, where I live fairly minimalist. Over this summer, I bought clothes for myself for the first time in well over a year, because I don't buy things. Yeah, bread, water, carrot. That is what I need. The only thing I really spend on is my cats. I buy them nice food. That's it. I just underdo as much as I possibly can, and I just try to live so far within my means as possible, and My main thing is like I want to have some stuff on the side because I don't just take care of myself. I do provide for some other people in my family and stuff like that, you know? So I'm just like, I got to make sure that they're good as much as possible. They do semi take care of themselves, but I help. Do you ever go on trips? No. I go to see family. At most. But I do not go on vacations. If I ever go to a place, it has to be work related or family related. I do not just go, I'm going to Rome to see Rome. Yeah, the Montevecchia, which was her visiting me. And then we drove somewhere for like an overnight stay somewhere, and we had a lot of work dinners. So yeah, we were doing our thing. I would say it counts, but I'm not hopping on a plane to go to fucking, you know, Iceland to go see shit. I don't think you have to do without those things entirely, but I just don't do them personally. I've been so many places only because my work used to be something that involved me going places a lot. Right? That was it. But I would go to these places and I wouldn't get to like vacation nicely. I would go and eat food. I'd see like one thing and then I'd spend all my time in meetings and stuff like that. So, yeah. Just live normally, okay? Don't let someone posting some shit on Instagram make you be like, I have to do that too. No, you don't. If you're sitting around in your house and you're hanging out, and then you go for a walk and you're hanging out, if the thought doesn't occur to you while you're doing that, oh, I need this thing, then you don't need it. Okay? You don't need it. You know what you do need money for, though? Me, for buying my merch. That is the one thing I will say you should budget for. My merch and using my 10% off code on Cheeky Soap. That is the one thing I think makes sense in this life. If you budget well, you too can have leftover funds for Cheeky Soap. If you put your funds into a savings account, that small percent you make each year would cover all of the merch I release in the year, wouldn't you know? Probably even more. Just saying. Yeah, wash your ass. Wash your ass. Any update on the restock of the latest merch? Soon. We're working on it. Not yet, though. I'll let you know when. I'll let you know in the Discord. But I don't know. I think if you're trying to live well, buying some items that you'll actually use or that you'll display and look at a lot, good. Buying stuff that goes in your closet and you never really wear much, no. Going on a trip to see a family member that you haven't seen in forever, to go do a specific thing that you've always wanted to do, okay. Going to a place just because you heard it's good and you want to go to a place and then you spend like thousands of dollars on it, not good. You could probably go, okay, if you live on one of the coasts, when was the last time you went to your nearest beach? Go find, maybe not your nearest beach, go find the nearest beach that has like a boardwalk or a little area or a nice little restaurant and go to it. You could probably just drive to something that's a little far. Again, this is for coastal people. You could drive to something that's a little far and go have a great day. 2 days, maybe, if you're getting a little crazy, and then go back. Let's say you don't live on the coast. There are all sorts of places you can go. You're like, I live in Western PA and PA has nothing. Okay, go to the Poconos. Like, you know what I mean? There's always something. And yeah, maybe it's like not the closest, but you don't have to fly to Rome. You know what I'm saying? Like there are really nice trips that you can do that are a lot smaller. And yes, there are going to be some people that live in the middle of nowhere. Yes, it's going to be far for some people. For most people, for where most of the population is concentrated, there's so much shit to do within a 50-mile radius, you know? So you don't have to go that crazy. I feel like everyone, like I keep hearing them say like they're going to go, I'm going to go to Aruba. I'm going to go to Bali. And I'm like, brother, just... Coney Island's really nice. You know, I'm like, go down the shore, man. Go down the shore. Go to Asbury Park. I don't know. Like, go do some cool shit. Go up to Westchester and go in the fall, and there's like 1,000 things to do up there, and you could just take the train north and be there. It's like not even, you know. And they're like, no, I have to go to Ireland and look at sheep. You're gonna go watch a guy who's speaking English, but you can barely understand him, talk to you about his sheep, and then be like, get off my property, and then he's gonna keep hurting them. Like, I don't know, man. It's okay to do it occasionally. I know people that do this shit like yearly, and I'm like, brother, so much. And then they're like, life is so hard, it costs so much. Like, yes, but it didn't have to. You know, it didn't have to. I don't know. If you have the money, it's different. I just see people do that, and they don't really have the money to do that. Like, they think because they can, it means they have the money to do it. And I really don't think that is the case. Because they're not accounting for, like, their whole life, you know? They're accounting for what I have in this year and maybe next year. And I'm like, that's very different. Like, I don't know. I just think people don't budget. They don't budget well. I don't get it, man. You may have a slightly jaundiced view of travel. I'm talking about what I'm talking about weighed against money people do and don't have, right? So I'm saying this through the lens of, like, having watched a lot of people who really don't have the money to do this be doing this. I think if you have the money to do it, then this argument doesn't matter at all, you know? But those people don't have to worry about this. It's just that I see a lot of people do this when they really, like, they cannot. It's not within their means at all. And it's scary. I had a lot of friends get out of college and get their first adult job and start, like, you know, I'm saving up PTO to go to this place this summer. And I'm like, do you want to buy a house? And they're like, yeah, it's going to take forever. And I'm like, okay. I do understand, depending on how little you make or how much you make, it may be so out of the way that you're like, I'm giving up on it, I'm just gonna rent forever, okay? But if you're like actually trying, we gotta be trying here, you know? Like, I don't know. When people spend recklessly after tax returns, yeah. There's like a huge retail season when people get their tax returns. Right after that, there's always this big retail boom. So it's actually a time where you are encouraged, if you are selling things, to put out items, which is like kind of crazy in the US at least. A bit nuts that it's like that, but I don't know. That money free? It's not. People are insane, literally insane. I don't get how they do it. Oh, your brother-in-law got a credit card from his job and jetted off to Hawaii, not understanding it was a card that you had to pay off every month. That's so scary. Yeah, I think credit cards are evil. They're really good if you know what they are. But if you, like, don't understand them, then they become pure evil. You know? Like, if you understand what they are and how to use them and you're getting your cash back, like, you could be in the positive. But yeah, there's a lot of people that just, like, fuck up. Some people should get banned from credit cards, but of course, like, no one's gonna do that. They want those people to keep spending recklessly and then going after them and keeping them in debt to them so they can get that money back and plus more. It's crazy. Yeah, I set up auto pay gas card, exactly. Dude, when they don't have fees and you open up 100 cards and you're like, this one's for gas because I get 3.1%. This one is for my bills because on utilities I get an extra 2%. And you have, like, you have the card for everything. That's the best, man. I had a friend who got so deep into, like, the extra miles and points and travel system and cards and all that. Fly toaster, they give it a 10 gifted, is huge. Thank you. No, but my friend got so deep into how all that stuff worked and she calculated a lot of it. She went on a free trip like twice a year because she was so good at figuring out how this stuff actually works and not getting caught up in certain schemes, whatever. And she had so many free hotels, free trips, all this shit because she figured out certain reward systems and she had different ones going at the same time, used the right card for the right thing. And what she did was she had this one card that she was using to pay off. No, it is free. It is free, Isaac, because here's the thing. She had to pay debt on her school. She worked out a system where they would put her debt under a certain type of account and then she would pay it back using this one credit card. And she was able to get that credit card to give her travel points back for it. A lot of other cards, when she would pay off her debt for school, this is for school specifically, for college, when she would pay off her college debt, they wouldn't give her anything back, but the travel ones worked. So she set this system up where she had her debt get held by a certain type of agency that put in a certain type of account, as a certain type of debt, and she would pay it off with the card. And she would get all these travel points back because every year she was paying like out the ass to cover her, her school debt. They let her make loan payments on a credit card. Yes. And yes, she had to pay, but she had a job, so she was able to make it work out. And she went through that and she was able to get these trips out of it. And they are considered free because she was going to pay that debt no matter what, right? It was just a matter of where she was paying it, how she was paying it, that got her these extra points. And she was even able to, through certain systems, one of the cards, she could cash out the points straight up for money and put it back into itself if she wanted to. And I was like, girl, you're crazy. It did take her a lot of time, right? It took her a lot of time to sit there and work this stuff out, how she wanted to do it. She had to keep up on it. It was contingent on her keeping her job, obviously, but she had a good job and she was very not worried about losing it. And she was like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. So I thought it was really cool how she did it. But she had to like do some triple backflips, crazy gymnastics to like get it to that point. But I think it was well worth the effort for her. I think it was. So it was like quote unquote free. It was money she was going to pay anyway, right? So she was just like, why not get something on top of it? Your Amazon card gives you 5% back on gift subs. Does it actually? Wait, that's crazy. That's insane. I have some insane ones that are really good for really specific things. So I know exactly which card is for what, and I just go down the line, I don't know. But I feel like if you're not good at that stuff, you shouldn't try and potentially fuck up. You should just get one that has like a base percentage back on most things that's okay, and you just leave it at that, right? If it's not something that you feel like you have in you to sit there and manage, don't bother yourself with it. Just get one that's okay and isn't going to lose you money, and just go. Yeah, don't pick up pennies in front of a steamroller, right? Because you can get fucked up. You can get fucked up, if you're not careful. So, it's scary. Little scary. Yeah, you have like a nice 1 to 2% back. Yeah, I have one that just has a base flat, like this back on everything. And if I'm sitting somewhere and I'm like, I don't know which one this should go on, I just default to that, It's whatever. It's whatever. You don't have to like go crazy over it. If you get too obsessed, you're gonna go insane. Navy, think of the 4 months. But yeah, actually, I have one that does do that. Mine does give some back on gifted subs. Not 5% though, that's crazy. Ooh, you min-max by buying Twitch gift cards on Amazon to get that 5% instead of 2%. I see. I like that. That's actually really good. So yours is what, 5% back off on Amazon purchases? And then you purchase the Twitch gift card and then use it for the gifted subs. I like that a lot, actually. That's the thing too, right? Is you can get real funny with it. Kind of compound little offers through, gift cards, etc. Your friend works for the company that processes Twitch's gift cards. The business is fucking wild. Oh, I know. It can go crazy. I didn't think about the specifically purchasing on an Amazon thing, though. I like that. You start off with 600 credit line every year, increase it. Now you're like 20k credit line, but still only use around 600 of it. Yeah, I always paid for my shit. Fancy Wookie, thank you for the sub. And what I did was I opened a lot of cards that I didn't use often. I just kept like a small balance on it for certain things and made sure I paid it off so that I could like juice my credit score as high as I could as early as possible. I was like, I'm gonna juice this shit. So I'd be like, these bills for these things here. I would pay old rent payments. I would pay a portion on different cars if I could. I would be so annoying with it. But I would do things like that so that, you know, you could separate it all out. And then, you know, your credit looks really good. I did my best with that. I did my absolute best.
So I juiced it!
And I'm one of those people with the, like, the crazy, insane credit that I've had for a long time just because I went in and did that. But it was annoying. It was annoying to make sure I had, like, enough purchases on each thing. And I'm not really much of a spender, so I was like, well, what do I buy? And it was essential, so I had to, like, split some stuff out onto them sometimes. Or, you know what friends would do for me? If they were, you know, younger, college age, whatever, and they needed to buy something and they had cash, I would be like, give me the cash, I'll put it on my card. I would do that all the time. Big pushing. Thank you for the 300 bits. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, I did that constantly when we were in a cash world, you know, people, especially I think students always use cash for a lot of stuff. I would be like, oh, that thing's $5. I got you. Give me the money. And I would swipe to make sure my cards were getting used so I could actually like hit the amount per month I would need to then be able to pay it off and have it affect my credit positively. Because if you just do like $20 a month on a card, they don't fucking care. It doesn't make you look good. You know, they're just like, oh, it's $20. It's whatever. But yeah, that was how we did it. Said your credit was so bad in college, the phone company wanted you to put down a 2K deposit on a free phone. That's crazy. They trusted you so negatively that they a 2K deposit on a phone. That's the thing. I mean, we make jokes about like social credit and stuff, but we got the US financial credit score, and that shit is brutal. You're like, I want to live, and they're like, that'll cost you $5 billion. We know you already don't have money, but give us an extra $5 billion. We need it to be sure of you. Which I think it completely makes sense. It's just, it can be so fucky sometimes for reasons that aren't always your fault. I don't know. But yeah, don't go into debt, kids. Or whatever. We'll say you're scared of getting injured or sick. You're telling me. Yeah, I paid for whatever medical debts I had by putting them on lots of credit cards to get cash back to recoup as much as I could. They were like, if you pay with card instead of like just wiring money or doing whatever, then you're gonna have to pay this like 1.5% fee. And I'm like, okay, but I get 3% back on normal debts with this one, so you know. And I was like, I was min-maxing, and I had them send me so many separate bills so I could pay with different cards to try and like, some of them are like certain things you can get a certain percent back up to a certain amount, and then after that cutoff you don't anymore. So I was like, you know, doing that shit as much as I could. God, it was fucked. I spent so much time like working on the paperwork for it, but I got some cash back at least, which then paid for, you know, like 2% of those bills, I guess. I don't know. He said medical stuff is so expensive, I would rather write it out, see if I get better. Either get better or I die. Either way is win-win. For you. True. I know you're first-time chatter, so don't feel bad about this sentence at all. I had cancer, though, so I kind of had to, like, just do it. So I was like, you know, I got my bill, and I was like, that's the bill, you know. There was no really, like, writing it out. So I was like, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I just thought, like, I thought my insurance would cover more than it did, considering it was life-threatening. It wasn't even, like, a little, like, oh, you got some basal cells, you know. It was like, hey, you might die, like you're looking real bad kind of thing. And I thought they would cover more of it. They make it sound like they will, you know? I had a good plan too. And then you get there and they're like, actually actually, you could have lived for another month for sure, therefore we're not going to pay for anything within that month. And I'm like, what? What? Even though it's like important you get this stuff out of you early, they would just be like, but you were still living, so it was crazy. Ooh, you said your mother was taken in as a teaching case for her cancer, so the hospital ate the entire cost. That's cool. That's cool. I wasn't able to get much back, but I did get a tiny bit back, because I was like a really special case, and they were able to
Today
like
I was
document
able
some
to tell
stuff.
you went live based on the amount of times my phone vibrated in my pocket. I have GE'd too much. I'm so cooked. Smile.
Yeah, because you get three notice back to back. Is the Twitter, the Discord, and the Twitch combo. There's a few people who said that. They're like, you're the only one who like immediately goes boop 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 like that. It's funny. You said, am I weird for wanting more places to offer payment plans? Like I can afford paying $60 a month for a few months to own a phone, but paying a few hundred up front would be a bit of a financial burden because you have other expenses to consider. No, that's normal. I think that's the idea of what certain store cards are for. Store cards can get really dicey though, and I don't trust them. I genuinely do not trust them a lot of the time. But their idea is that sometimes the store card will let you do that, where you can get that $200 item up front, and then, you know, you have like this weekly bill. But I feel like, again, that's only for certain stores, and I feel like they're kind of a scary scam. Or they just backload it at the end of the month and you paid off like a normal credit card. Sometimes there's no interest fee if you pay within a certain time, or you pay a certain percentage of that per week. But it's usually so convoluted, I feel like you just get got most of the time, right? You usually get got. So I don't trust it. I don't trust it. Same thing with those online payment plans. You know how you gotta pay for something and they're like, pay now with card, pay now with PayPal, or pay in installments using the, and then it has some inserted logo of some payment processor that like is a company that does, you know, these payment plans for you. Well, pay with this, you know, yeah, Klarna, right? Like all these different ones. I feel like those are like designed to kill people. You know, I don't trust those at all. I don't know. They are, yeah. It's just, it's not good. It's not good. I think, yeah, they trap you into stuff. They catch people. Like, the people using that are people who are having issues to begin with. And a lot of the time, you just don't need any of it. You don't need any of that stuff that you're trying to buy with these payment plans, typically. The fact that they're offering it on sites where you're likely buying stuff that you don't need, like concert tickets, etc., I'm like, this shouldn't even be an option. You shouldn't be telling people, I know you can't afford this right now, but what if you could? Kinda, right? I don't know. It's just one of those things that I'm like, you're just trying to get people. You're just trying to get people. You heard many young people are getting fucked because of them too? Yeah, I think going back to even mid to younger millennials, I feel like around there they stopped teaching good home ec. Even before that, it wasn't that great, but I think they stopped teaching good home ec. And then younger millennials and beyond, you know, Gen Z, all that, a lot of people had scenarios where both parents were working all the time. So you didn't have your stay-at-home mom looking like a Stepford wife going, here's how you balance a checkbook, sweetie, and installing all of these ideas into your brain about how to handle finances, whatever. So I think a lot of young folks just never had like the constant reinforced reminders about how money works. And then on top of that, things have gotten more complex. You don't have to just balance a checkbook nowadays. You have like a billion things going on, and a lot of it's like in these weird digital dark pattern formats. And I think we just need a class. Like, we just need like a class that's, fuck it, federal level required for everyone. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. Seminar, and you have to do a thing. You got a statewide driving exam? Okay, make a statewide credit card exam, you know? Or something. Something. Do it everywhere. That's just my personal thought. They're not going to do it because they make money off of people making mistakes, but you know, if everyone was like interested in doing the right thing, it would be nice if we had stuff like that. They're just not. Netflix subscription 101. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Like, everything's subscription based too. So it's just kind of like, you can't help people unless you sit with them and their finances. No. Teach compounding interest. It's like not even hard either. At the same time, I'm a bit negative about it, where I'm also like of the mindset, if you have any interest in living your life properly, you have the internet in front of you, most likely in the modern day, so you could just look it up, right? Do you really have any excuse? Oh, I didn't have a mom dressed like a Stepford wife at home telling me about finances. Okay, but you could have looked it up at any time when you were young and curious. The moment you wanted to get your first credit card, you could have researched what credit cards are and how they work, and, you know, best practices. Maybe not that term because you wouldn't know that at that age, but like, you know, you would have just like looked things up, and you didn't. So I'm also kind of like, I feel both ways, right? You don't know what you don't know, though. What do you look up? That doesn't apply to this when I'm just like, how do I handle my finances as an adult? You could just Google that and legitimately you will find this information. Yeah, finances 101. And then from there, you just go deeper. You just keep going deeper, right? Yeah, Google, how do I get a credit card? What to watch out for, credit card. Enter. Right? So I don't know. So I feel both ways, where I'm like, man, the world did these people a disservice, but I'm also like, they really did themselves a disservice when they have all the information in front of them if they just looked. So I don't know. Not anymore. First 10 results are going to be AI misinformation. If you are a person living in this time using the internet, you should be able to sift through some of that. That's just how I feel. And the thing is, if you read the first thing you read and you're like, this must be true, I think that's your fault. I think that's your fault. If you read one article and went, this has to be true, I think that's that person's fault if it turns out to not be true. You know, research means I have all these results, I look through a few. Right? You could easy answer YouTube video. And when it gives bad advice, people will be in the comments being like, yo, this ain't the one, dog. That shit's not true, dog. Right? Etc. So, you know, even if you're not good at research yourself, people make entire YouTube channels doing all the research for you and boiling it down, watering it down. And then it's open to everyone else to comment. And if something's like really wrong in it, they're like, this ain't the one, right? So that's why I'm like, I just don't think you can help people sometimes because it's just in front of them, you know? It's in front of them if they want it.
I stopped using Reddit after I saw a headline that grossly misrepresented an article which was also itself wrong.
Reddit got really bad. It always had its issues, but it was like more of a replacement for separate forums. So people had like game FAQs, right? And then they had like a specific forum just for one game and blah, blah, blah. And then just for one hobby, you had this one forum. And you had all that. And then Reddit really was meant to consolidate and make tooling for people who wanted to do that. And when it still had that vibe, I think it was still good. But it had this little like slippery slope moment. And at some point there was just an avalanche of it just went to shit. And I don't like it. I don't like it. I'll still use it for like some image-based ones here and there, but even now, like not really. Or it's fixed so many of your tech issues. Yeah, I think like Yeah, like, right, really focused stuff. There can still be uses, but it has to still be niche, I feel like. It has to be a subreddit that's not popular for bots or random people to karma farm in or shit like that, right? If it's devoid of that, it can be useful. But if it's not, then it's complete. It's not just useless. It's like negative, I think. Would you say side shot? You don't understand why you would need to research a credit card. It's a card that lets you buy stuff and pay it off at the end of the month. Don't see why it's such a mystifying concept. Other than the fact that the Western culture is a completely false assumption that it's an infinite money glitch that refuses to die for some reason. I think you've said a lot of weird things in this. I get what you're saying. I think you've said a lot of things that are not the case. The people who need to research a credit card are the people who don't understand how they work yet. Like, you're a college student, no one's explained to you exactly how they work. You should look up how they work. Because you're like, it's a card that lets you buy stuff and pay it off at the end of the month. Do they know that? There's some people who don't get that. There's some people that think, like, it just gives you money beforehand. There are people that don't understand it puts you into negative the moment you do it, and then you're paying that bill back. It creates a debt. They don't have a good visualization of it. So no, there are people that need it spoon-fed, I feel. Especially young folks that just don't understand finance at all. They know nothing. They know nothing of the real world, right? So it's like, it's not even that they're stupid, it's ignorance. They just don't know yet. And then Western culture, false assumption that's an infinite money glitch. That's not a Western culture thing. That's just like people that are bad with money everywhere all get caught by these schemes. You know what I mean? So I think you were saying you think it's a cultural thing, not personal responsibility. I think it's both, but mostly personal responsibility. I truly do. Because people keep, I mean, I think everyone does this. People keep bandwagoning onto things without understanding them. They just hear about it and they're like, that's good enough for me. That means credibility in their mind. I think people don't. Okay, let's go back. Let's pull it back. Logos, ethos, and pathos. Okay? You have a sentence. Someone says something to you. Logos is the logic of it. Does it make sense? Ethos. Does this person who said this have the credibility behind them for me to believe what they said? Pathos, how does it appeal to me emotionally in some way, right? We got these three concepts, these three things. When anyone says anything, these three things bring together the logic of how you feel about it, what you think about it. Number one most ignored thing, I think, is ethos. People, when they hear anything or read anything, they don't think critically about, like, can I trust this? Why can I trust this? What can I research to make sure I can trust this? And a lot of the time, that's what you're misdirected with on the internet or by people that want your money, right? They misdirect you so that their credibility seems a lot better than it actually is. And I think that's like the big issue with everything on the internet right now, right? Like, people don't want to do a lot of their own research. And so they read an article on the internet and they just assume the ethos, right? They just assume it's credible because it was on a website and it looks like an article. Meanwhile, I could make a site in less than a day that looks like it has good articles on it. AI generate 1 billion of them and then start telling people this is a credible news site. And they would look at it and just go, yep, looks good to me. Must be real, you know? So part of critical thinking is like figuring out that. And I think the way the internet is right now, it kind of muddies it, makes it a little hard to figure this shit out. So I don't know. I feel like half the issues you see in the world right now are because everything's just so fucking muddied, man. Everything is so muddied up and it's hard to tell if you should take something as truth or not, you know? So, and I think people assume more good faith than they should. I think you should assume that things are not true until you can clarify them yourself, right? Like, if I say something, I think something's true because I read something somewhere and I'm talking about it on stream, and someone in chat is like, I thought it was this. I'll usually be like, if it's not an opinion thing, it's like a factual thing. They're like, no, I thought it was this. If I'm not like pretty sure because I've researched it a bit more, if it's something I just like read about a little bit, I'll go, let's look it up, and I'll just open a new tab, look it up, and start looking through multiple spots to find out like which is true, right? Because I'm like, well, now I can't trust either of us. Can I trust my memory? Can I trust that person? I don't know. Let's look, right? And I feel like that should be like the reaction when someone challenges a thing. You'd be like, well, now I don't know. And you should question yourself, but I think people just don't. Right? I think they just don't. They're just like, well, I think in my memory it's right, therefore it's right. But I don't trust my own memory. I think I know a thing. And if it's recent or if I feel like I've verified it to a deep degree, then I'll be like, okay, well, I'm just going to be like, no, this is right. But if I don't think I've read enough on this thing to be able to be sure, then you just keep looking. I don't know. You shouldn't be scared of being like, oh, my memory is not right. Or, oh, that thing I read wasn't correct. Like, being misinformed, like you didn't commit a crime if you were misinformed, You're not an idiot because you have one factoid in your head that isn't right because you thought it was because you read it somewhere. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not, I don't know. Like, a few of you were saying, like, if people take it as an attack when you point it out, I think that's the problem, right? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I don't know, man. It shouldn't be that hard, right? But it is, I guess it is for a lot of people. Yeah, old Science Channel tagline, never let go, is question everything. Even yourself. Even yourself. Yeah, I don't know. Or like, I don't know, if I'm sitting around talking to someone and they say a thing, they ask me a question and I'm like, I think it's this. And I go, is it that? If I don't feel certain, I'm like, is it that? And I feel the need to like drop everything and go look, right? This is why I love having a phone, man. This is what a phone is for, realistically. You sit there and you're like having a conversation with someone in real life and you go, you know what? Fuck it. Let's go figure out if this is true or not.
Good afternoon, GEEGA. I got to watch your blueprints video today at work.
Ooh.
The level of red string conspiracy theory in that was awesome and also quite frightening.
I really like that video. I ended up playing more of the more boring parts, but the like end-to-end game stuff off stream it was so good. It was so good. I wish I streamed it, but I also don't feel bad about not streaming it because some of it was like really redundant toward the end of that game to just get like certain scenarios to happen so you could do a thing. But man, that game was so good. I hope they add more. Did they say they were going to add more content to it at some point, or were they just I know they're working on something additional, but are they going to add anything to Blueprints, or do they feel like it's a closed chapter? I don't know. I would like, I don't need them to add more to the same game. I just want more games that give me that. When I feel like I want to pull out like my Figma board and start adding stuff to it, I feel really good about the game. But bluer prints. Yeah, I don't even know. I feel like it would be really hard to make anything more off of that game. I don't know. Dirigiblock will be real. They did plan on making Dirigiblocks a playable game within the game, but that's all I remember them saying they were actually definitely working on. I don't know. Sold you on the game though? It's so good. It's so good. Ooh, you're gonna buy it so your family and you can all sit on the sofa and play together. I feel like it's a really good game for playing together. You know those channels, a lot of old Let's Plays are like this, where, or Let's Play groups, where they would sit and couch co-op stuff. That game, I feel like, is so good for that. Because you sit there and you try to remember stuff, especially if you're trying to do it without, like doing a ton of the note taking. You just have like a little notebook and you're not going too crazy with it. You're not screenshotting, etc. I feel like it's a really good game for that, for sure.
Haven't they tied themselves into enough of a Gordian knot already? Those poor devs are going to hit you with the memes again if you ask for more.
Yeah, I think I don't. That's why I'm like trying to picture what could they even add. I don't even know. It's possible, but I feel like the game is so. There's so much. There's so much. They must be so overwhelmed by their own conspiracy theories at this point that after any break from development, they wouldn't be able to connect anything new to it. Well, there's also the point of they might have had a lot of content ideas from the get-go that didn't make it into the final product, but still were like in the web of information and could exist. So there's a chance maybe they could go back to some of that stuff and clean it up, right? And make it fit in. I don't know. I think I just want a new game from them. That's all. I just want a new game from them. But God, that game is so good. That game is so good. When I open Figma and I open the FigJam file where I have all of the notes, it takes so long to load because there's so many images in it. It's crazy. It's insane. But I want to do it for more games in the future. I mean, the games just have to have the right need for it. There are a lot of games where I'm just like, why would I do this? Why would I open this for this game? But, you know, I just want more where I have to. Blueprints. And Evan, did you play it? I feel like you would like it. If you haven't already. I feel like you would have played it, though. You strike me as the type. Add a stealth mode where you have to evade your dad because you've skipped school for 6 months. Ooh. You know, one of my favorite parts of the game that turned out to not be a thing you really had to do anything with. I loved, okay, without spoiling too much, I loved the thing that only told you lies, cinematic lies. There was a thing that fed you cinematic lies, and some of the lies it feeds you make you so paranoid, and it turns out that some of it is just not true at all. But oh man, some of the stuff it makes you worry about is crazy. It changes the gameplay so much.
In the patch note 1.04.5 for blueprints,
yeah,
they state they have some stuff to add yet, and version 1.10 will be the completed game.
Okay.
So whenever that update comes out, it will be it aside from fixes.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how much they're gonna add, like content versus just making things function the way they want. What does cinematic mean in this case? Cinematic. That's it. The word. Purely that. That one did make me paranoid at one point. Yeah, you know which one I'm talking about, right? The specific cinematic bit where you're like and you start turning around in game. You start turning around, you're like, oh, you start looking everywhere, you look down every hallway and you're like, oh. That game wasn't a horror game, but there were so many moments in it that gave you this feeling where you're like, oh my God. Yeah. I felt like a lot of that game, I was waiting the whole time. I was just waiting for there to be like a person attacking me straight up. I was like, at some point, someone's going to put a bag over my head and I'm just gonna, like I'm just going to get kidnapped. Like the atmosphere, right? The ambiance of the whole game. They did so good at building up all of that feeling. And it was nice. I liked that. I like that more than like a horror game that's like, oh, there's blood on the walls or whatever. Everyone thinks there's going to be a monster that pops out. Dude, that game, if they went full horror on it, could have been great. But I love that they didn't. I love so much that they didn't. I love that it was just spooky because you're in an old house, and who wouldn't be spooked in this old ass house alone, right? And it's like a relic. There are all these notes. There's this conspiracy you're trying to figure out. There's remnants of places where people like were literally just living recently. So you're finding like belongings of theirs just littered about and everything. You know, it's a little spooky. I don't know if any of you have done this. If you've ever cleaned out the home belongings room of someone who's passed, but it was that, right? And I think they captured what's eerie about that so well and then put it into a puzzle game. And I don't know if they ever said that was the inspiration for it, but that was what I got from that game for sure. Like a lot of the eeriness of it was that, right? And it almost feels like you're like, I shouldn't be here a little bit, right? The occasional servant ducking down a hallway would have made you poop their gaming chair. Yeah, I think it would have been a cool thing, but it wasn't needed. Like, it was eerie enough just feeling like you were gonna see it and then you didn't, right? You love the feeling of loneliness. They did so good with that. So good. And you still got some notes from people here and there that, like, made it clear that people were aware of you. but you were still alone. I don't know. It was good. It was really good. I prefer that so much over like a proper horror game. I like it. You remember cleaning out your grandpa's desk? It was really Blueprints core. Yeah, at this point, for me, every grandparent that's passed, I have been one of the people helping with helping with the stuff, helping with the cleanup, helping with the sorting of things, and trying to get, you know, again, I'm the person who tries to get people back to normalcy. So I'm like, hey, we got to do this, because if we don't address this, this room will become a frozen in time place and no one will ever go in here or touch it, you know? So I would always be one of the people doing that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm really familiar with that. And that was something that hit me with that game really hard, was like, I felt like they did a really, really good job at capturing that. Really good job. It felt properly lived in. And it didn't feel like the puzzles and things were set up in a way where you walk up to it and go, oh, I'm doing a puzzle. Every puzzle, for the most part, felt like it was set up to be there while those people were alive, should they need to access it, right? So there were puzzles that were set up, and they would leave notes in game, and they'd be like, hey, the way to access the emergency thing for this thing is to do, it has something to do with this. And then there would be some sort of code that you'd have to figure out, right? So it felt like these people had all these puzzle systems set up to use during their life, which is really cool, because then again, like, even if you're going up and doing puzzles, you don't feel like you're just, it's not like The Witness, right? Where you walk up to a panel and you start drawing a line. Instead, it was just like, I'm actually figuring out the systems that a living person set up for their own security and for everyone else's security, right? And security of their own information. I thought that was cool as hell. So, yeah, loved that. Loved that. It handled reverence for the departed really tastefully. I think so, too. It also showed different characters having different reverence for certain departed people, too. It was like really personal, even though it was just these fictional characters. It's really nice.
Reminds
really
me
nice.
of a real-life location that has that eerie feeling to it, Centralia, Pennsylvania. It had to be evacuated immediately, and people just got up from what they were doing to leave.
Yeah, there are a lot of museums that focus on that when there's either a tragedy or like a place has to be evacuated, whatever, where a lot of things are like left in time. I think that's why a lot of people, what's a good example? Oh, if you ever visit the Anne Frank Museum and you get to see like the little spot where they marked off everyone's heights as they were growing, things like that. Pompeii is a really good example. You can see the casts of the bodies and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting stuff. Though I will say Pompeii is like a little doctored a little bit, because some things, the positions have been moved slightly, because what you're seeing is not the literal bodies, you're seeing casts of them. And sometimes those have been replaced with ones that are not going to crumble away. So it's like, there's a reverence there, but it's not exactly it for a lot of them, you know? So it's really interesting to see stuff that's like literally stopped in time, right? It's cool. It's cool, man. You found a card you made for your grandma as a kid in her Bible. Yeah, there's some things that I have, like I have a bunch of notes that my grandmother, like good but passive aggressive notes, tiny post-its that my grandmother left for my grandfather. And I have a stack of them, and it's just these random notes that she would leave him for like random shit throughout the day. And I just kept them. But it'll be stuff like, you did this again, make sure you take care of that, whatever. And then it has like little nods to stuff that I knew he did a lot as a hobby or whatever, right? So I like to keep those. I think stuff like that is really really good. Yeah, not very passive aggressive, just like she'd be chastising him a little bit for a thing and be like, you left this again, I need you to do this by this time, right? I think stuff like that is cool to keep, you know? I like that. Used to go to old houses in the woods, some from hundreds of years ago, some just abandoned a couple years ago. Weird but interesting thing to explore. Yeah, I think the problem is a lot of places like that, if they're not owned by somebody and kept preserved right where they were, a lot of the time people like have already gone in and trashed the place. So it's meh, you know? There was one, what was her name? There was this one French girl, was she was she a performer in the Follies or what? She was a model, and she like ran away to America and left her apartment in whatever state it was in France. And then a family member, it was transferred to them, and they kept it like cleaned for a bit all the way through like the 50s, but they didn't move her stuff. They just kept it cleaned up. And they had some receipts related to paying for the place that they left in there. Other than that, they didn't touch anything. And that place was just kept like that for forever. It was just covered in a layer of dust. And I remember at some point they like museumed it basically. Let me see. French woman room, I guess frozen in time. What would I even Google for this? I'll find it. Hold on. Paris apartment frozen in time. Yeah, they said a 91-year-old woman died in 2010 and her family discovered she had inherited an apartment in Paris from her grandmother. In 1942, her grandmother had abandoned it in perfectly preserved and decorated condition. There were some receipts through the 50s to show it had been paid for and like someone had gone in and cleaned a little bit, but it was left there. Oh, she was a Parisian socialite and actress. I thought it was cool. Obviously, some stuff was in disrepair, and some of her shit was just kind of like left out because it was clear she was leaving. But she like had to run, I think, to America. Look, just that. The cool thing was like her dressing table in the back there. That's like her little table where she did her makeup and hair and stuff. It had a lot of her products just sitting there too, so people were able to see like what she used and all those things. I thought this was cool, but it's so dusty. So dusty. But you see the style of everything? It's so gaudy. I like gaudy shit. I don't like light colored gaudy shit though. I like dark wood gaudy shit. Her dining room was like this too. There's a lot of paintings left out everywhere because she just loved art collecting. I'm trying to find her vanity. Oh, the picture of her vanity here. I know this is in front of my face. One sec. It was pretty cool, but I like stuff like this. I like when they make museums out of places that kind of got frozen. They got like abandoned. Look at that. That's her vanity. So she had like her makeup and hair products in her apartment sitting on the vanity, some books and things, papers she had written to herself. And I thought it was cool. I just thought it was really cool. So they preserved some of that. So you're a slut for Baroque furniture. When I would go to my grandmother's house and I would have to polish all the wooden furniture, it was like this. It wasn't this bad, and it was more like, this looks very Parisian. The stuff my grandmother liked was definitely like more Italian coded, you know? But like I would go and I would take furniture polish, that shit that smells like lemons, and I would have to go and get in every fucking nook and cranny. What an annoying job, man. The worst. But I would do it. Einstein's office hasn't been touched since he left for the hospital. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff like that. A lot of really cool stuff like that. I think she was trying to escape the war. It said she left it in 42, so I would think. I'm not sure. Said your parasocial traits imagining this is what Matara's house looks like. I know what her place looks like. Matara is she's maximalist, not in things that she owns, but in like colors and patterns and stuff. She likes like a print with 10 different colors on it. Like her bedspread would look like that. You know? She would like really crazy looking curtains and everything. She likes light colors. She does like light colors and things like that. She wouldn't have stuff in like gold. No, she's not that type. But her stuff is very bright, I would say. And very bold colors. She's not like that Parisian apartment was very the colors were very desaturated, right? Not quite pastel, but desaturated a little bit, so they were like soft. Matara likes like bold colors, like straight up 255 green, you know? Maybe not 255 green, but you know what I mean. Very, very bright stuff. She likes flower patterns, that kind of thing. Loud stuff like a flashbang each time when you walk in. Not like literally everything, though. I'm saying like pops of patterns. Not like pattern rug plus pattern bedspread plus pattern curtain. It would be like one thing in that room. And then some nice, simple things around. She's also really messy. She's messy. She loves throwing shit around. I don't think she's unclean, though. Like, she'll clean. She just always has stuff, like, being picked up and then being thrown around. She's one of those. And it's so funny because the way my stuff looks is like... Let me find an example. I'll find an example. I really like making things look nice, but I don't care to spend the money on something that is cosmetic. So I don't. I'm gonna find, okay. I'm going to our male living space and I'm gonna find something that looks like my room. I'm gonna find something that looks like my room. The moment I scroll and something looks like my interior, I'm gonna show it to you. Because I know I'm gonna see something and be like, that's me. That's me. Okay, some things that people post here, though, I'm like, some of you, I don't believe these posts are real sometimes. You know, they'll be like, just moved in. They post some crazy shit. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Ooh. Okay, some of these, the room looks like what mine would look like, but they have so much shit everywhere. So do you want to see something that is the style I would have stuff in, or do you want to see something that is like scarily accurate? That is the question. Oh, I love when they include a picture of their dog. Oh, it's the best. Both. All right. I will look. Shout out to the people that just have like a room with a couch in it and a dog sitting in the middle of the floor looking at them, and they're like, yo, check out my room, and it's just a dog pic. I think that shit's great. That shit is wonderful. Oh my god, okay. I found one that is literally me. I found one that is literally me except for one thing. You ready for this? I love it because it's like a black and white gray hellscape. Which is what I love. That's what I love. I'm scared at how many of these I look at. I'm like, pretty close, pretty close, pretty close. Some of these look so much better than mine too. Why does everyone have nice pictures on here? What the hell? You know how Michi has described the way I live as like owns 2 objects, has 1 bed, and that's it. Take the plant out of this room. Take the plant out of this room and I don't have a fireplace. This is it. I got a couch. Take the blanket off of the couch too. And the accent pillows. Take the things that add nice color out of this room. That lamp, gone. Take the shelf off the wall, okay? I've got a floor. I've got a couch. I've got a TV. I've got a shelf under the TV with like things relevant to the TV. I got a mirror. I got a side table. The difference here is I have a kotatsu in the middle of the room. But I don't have the skirt on it. It's just a table on the floor. Because it's not cold out. Hey, Rev. I just pulled a picture from our male living space to describe what my home looks like to people. But it's not completely accurate. I said take out the plant, take out the nice accent pillow, take out the nice blanket, take out that nice lamp, take out the fireplace. Okay, make it look as bare and disgusting as possible, but clean. And then add a kotatsu on the floor, but without the nice blanket because it's not cold. That's that's what I live in. And that's how I love it. That's how I love it. It should look like that. Oh. Easy to keep clean, I guess. Exactly, because one of my cats, Wolfie, I think he's allergic to himself. When there's a lot of dander around, he starts sneezing a lot. So I wanted the place to be the easiest to clean thing as possible. I want to go with the vacuum and go, ew, and then dust and go, ew, and it's done. Right? Like zero effort. It's just clean. So my couch is also leather, so it's not like a fabric that holds dust. I just can wipe it, you know. So I can throw a blanket on it if I want it to feel surface level soft, if I want. But I can swap those out and clean them easily. So no carpets. No, instead of carpet, I've got a wood floor and I have a nice area rug that looks like a whole lot of nothing. It's gray. It's gray. It's just gray. It looks like this. It looks like this. Look at this place. Okay, take out that lamp. Just make it like one bulb facing up toward the sky. No nice windows. Those decorative objects on the table, take them off. That is now a kotatsu that I sit and eat at sometimes. That's what I live in. It's like this, and my rug looks like this. It's just more gray. If you took this and just desaturated the color from the rug and made it gray instead of brownish, boom. Leather couch and cats. My cats are fucking angels. They do not scratch the couch. I also weekly clip the ends of their nails so they're not like super sharp. So if they just jump on it normally, they don't scratch the shit out of it. I'm a solid cat parent who doesn't let them, learn that that's okay. Impossible? Very possible. Very possible. My cats will like meow on command when I have like them sitting in the kitchen. they'll sit, and now I've been teaching Wolfie how to stand, so he stands on his front or on his back legs and lifts up his front paws. So they're well trained. But yeah, this is like, if I had nice windows, I think my living room would look nice, but I don't. So instead I look like this, but a more hellish box. And then I saw this other picture and I was like, this is my office, except, I don't know, the decorative style is not the same, but the vibe is. Are you ready for this? Now imagine there weren't as many objects around. This guy's desk is disgusting. It's probably clean, it's just covered in stuff. Take all the extra shit off. I have a pegboard on the wall with shit on it. I have a desk. I have some curtains. I have a chair. I have a low table on the wall behind me that has all my 3D stuff. Take this room, take out that bed, turn it into a cat tree. And there you fucking go, man. I also have a gray area rug, like this room does. Just, the thing is, this room has some nice warm colors. Make the desk black. Make the chair black. That's a really, like, comfy, quilty looking warm rug. Mine is just, like, millennial gray. Floors, also cool toned. Everything I live in is gray hellscape, and I like that, personally. I like cool toned stuff. This is Eastern European coded. This person lives in Japan, allegedly. According to their post. But yeah, that's, I live in spaces that look like that. And the thing is, my mom has like a really good impression of like my style, because when she's tried to make things look better, I'll go with her and I'll pick stuff out and I'll get her space feeling really like warm and inviting, and it has beautiful lighting, and I'm like, put a plant here, and she's like, oh my god, it looks so nice. And then she walks into where I live and she's like, why I want to die. She'll walk in and she'll be like, where's the warmth? And I'm like, I love gray and I want to clean everything easily. I'm like, I want your space to look nice. I don't want furniture with all these little nooks and crannies that I have to dust. No thank you. I don't know, maybe it's the practicality. I like the way a lot of that stuff looks, but I just don't want it in like my own spot, you know? Because I would just, no. No. I'm good. The only stuff I have out is just cat stuff. Just cat stuff everywhere. I love this one dude posted, just finished my basement. If I did not have cats, this would actually be my living room. Are you ready? No bookshelf. I have a bookshelf in my office here. I actually do have one in a like little hallway that has rather than books, the books are in this room with me in my office, but it has other stuff like tabletop games and things. This is my dream living room. If I didn't have cats, so I didn't have cat furniture, I would have this. This is the Eames lounge chair, probably a replica of it. It's really expensive, from Herman Miller for no fucking reason. Classic. This is that chair that they put in the MoMA and everyone's like, why is a fucking chair here? It was this chair. I would have a lounge chair. The difference is I would probably throw a couple blankets on the floor and like nest in it. I would nest in it like a freak, and I'd probably sleep there every other night instead of in my bed. This would be insanely depressing to you. I am comforted by no distractions and things being easy to figure out. I have a very active imagination, so I don't really like my space to be active, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Yeah, because like I sit in the void and I just think, and I'm so happy just sitting there thinking. I don't really need my space to like
it
do
sounds
anything.
Like you live in a sterile corporate living quarters.
No, because the thing is, it's still stuff that I chose. That's the problem with like the corporate living and all that, is like it's their walls, it's their flooring, it's their, you know what I mean? Because I do care a lot about like those little things, right? That carpet, I'd go crazy if I didn't like the exact carpet, if I didn't like the exact wall color, etc. You know? It's their tacky art. Ooh, true. True. You don't want to get overstimulated. I don't get overstimulated though. That's not the problem. It's just more comfortable. Because I know people that have a more maximalist style, and I'll sit in those rooms and I'll feel fine. I just don't want to live in it and have to maintain that, right? Because like being in a place isn't really the problem. It's thinking like, okay, the more shit is in there, the more I have to regularly do, right? And I'm not about to deal with all that. No, thank you. No, thank you. I want it to be easy, dog. I want it to be easy. So, I don't know. Do you have anything on the walls to dampen the sound reflections when watching things? For me, so I have a lot of curtains over windows and stuff, and that kind of does the job. That plus having a nice rug does everything I need. And I hate things being at loud volume. So when I watch stuff, I don't have it up very high volume-wise, so I'm not worried about sound reflections, really. I kind of listen to things on, like, the minimum volume I can hear comfortably. Like, when I go to other people's houses and they have the TV on, I'm usually stunned by how loud they have it, and it kind of bothers me. And I don't say it to them, I'm just like, dog, like, live a quieter life. Like, the world isn't that loud. Why are you making your TV louder than the world? You know? Did you grow up with rooms like that? Because I did. I can't stand it. Technically, yes, but I grew up in a shoebox. I moved around a little bit, had a couple different rooms, but they were all basically closets, tiny, barely fit a twin-size bed and a desk. That was like all I could fit in there. So I think maybe I just enjoy having space, and having no stuff in there really makes me look around and go, wow, I have space. And that's probably a big part of it. Because I was always like trapped in a tiny closet kind of thing, you know? And it was just like so much people around all the time. Childhood trauma. I would not call it trauma at all. My room was quite nice. It was just small. I just couldn't like play in it much. Like you couldn't run. You couldn't run. There was nowhere to run, right? There was just a bed and then like a little slice of room that you could walk through to get from one end to the other. So I had like, in the one I spent the most time in, right side, you walk in the door, immediately on the right, bed. Like up to the door. Almost. And then on the left, the door wouldn't open all the way into the room. It would hit a desk. So you could open it at like a 45-degree angle. It would hit a desk. And then next to the desk to the right of that was like a very tall dresser with clothes in it. And then you hit the wall. That was it. That was it. It had a tiny closet attached that I could keep some stuff in. So basically all my possessions were in that closet, under the bed, or in that dresser. And that was like all my stuff. So yeah, I think I just like to like have space. Was there a window? One, yes, at the end. So when you first walked in the room and looked at the back, like the back wall in front of you, that was a window at the end of it. So yeah, and I would sometimes like drag a chair in there and put it near the window and sit there, and I would like read there. Rather than sitting on my bed, because I felt like I spent so much time on my bed, you know? So that was that. Did you share the space? I was the only girl, so I was lucky enough to have my own space. That's why it was so tiny. There was another room that was huge, but had like a billion boys in it, all living together. So I felt really lucky because I liked having my own space. I really liked being able to just close the door. So, yeah, I loved that. Also, I have to go to collab in two minutes. I'm hopping in that call. 2 minutes. Are your parents maximalists? Some people's maximalist parents grow minimalist children. No, I think my mom is also pretty utilitarian. I think her one toxic trait, she's not maximalist, but she likes to keep furniture because she perceives it as being something that was expensive, and she lived a really frugal life, and it would kill her. It would kill her to throw furniture out. So she has like one too many tables, one too many chairs. It's not like a hoarder home where you can't walk around in it or anything like that. And the surfaces are pretty clear. But if there's a corner with no furniture in it, she will find something to put in it. Right? So like every edge of every room has something against it. She doesn't have like much open space near the walls. And then the rooms aren't very big. She's always lived in like a pretty small space. So it's not really like great, but yeah, she has, yes, Sims build vibes. Exactly. Like she'll try to find ways to use everything, but I think she could throw a couple things out and feel way better. She like really can't bring herself to do it, you know? So I'm like, well, enjoy your space. But she's not like in design. She's not maximalist. She doesn't own like a shit ton of stuff. I think she has too much, but it's not to like a scary degree. But I always keep in mind, because I know as people get older, sometimes they start hoarding, and it's like a slow thing. So I always look around every time I visit, and I'm like, try to see if she's like holding on to shit she shouldn't. You know, she already does a little bit, but it's like stuff that she always has done. I'm looking to see if she like progresses, and she hasn't so far. So yeah, I always keep an eye out. I always keep an eye out. But anyway, we'll talk more about this another day. I am gonna play Peak. I am gonna play Peak. And we're gonna play with Haka and Joel. We're gonna play with Haka and Joel, and I'm going in right now. Ready?
Bro, what about Scrabble?
Scrabble is a friend slot. It's not really friend slot. That's classic.
No, but like that's our
You're
game,
trying to
dude.
say
That's the
Scrabble
game where we
is
like
friend slot?
bond.
No, I'm saying well, yeah, it is a good game. I'm saying that I haven't found a collab game that I like a lot.
Switch over to my fucking screen. Oh,
Hi, Geeg.
Hi.
Oh.
Hello, hello.
Oh,
Oh.
everybody!
Oh.
Everybody's here. The Gigster is here.
Hello.
He's finally starting his stream after an hour.
I know.
words
I am
back and
so
forth.
fucking evil. I am so fucking evil. You know what? I'm just giving you exclusive
Oh, man.
content.
That's
You didn't
terrible.
want to talk to your chat, so you talked to me in my chat instead.
Wow, you didn't even
Dude,
start for your own chat?
While watching Giga's stream, so you cheated
Hey,
in
listen.
every way.
Listen, I was listening to fucking talk about credit cards and shit. Okay, I was nourishing myself.
He listened to Giga,
Just go
and then he
live.
talked to me in my chat, and then he ignored his chat, and then he lied to his chat and said that I called them slurs, which I would never do.
Can you
I like
believe that
those
Joel
little
actually
birds.
does that all the time? I've heard him do it. It's
No,
crazy.
dude, Joel literally does that, dude. I just
Oh,
imagine
shut up,
Joel
you
Right.
under
Tweety bird.
Oh, you see that shit?
Say that!
Bro.
You can't say that to him.
Holy shit. Holy fuck, dude. Ouch. My feelings.
You got
can't
some
call
fucking
him that,
Steve Dibble
Joel.
on.
He's a Tweety bird. Oh
So
my
fucking
god.
mean to me and my little birds, dude. Hold on. We are about to
He's so
start.
Oh my god.